Hey, do you like Gundam? Do you like watching us watch Gundam? You can go ahead and get double episodes of Gundam over on the Patreon if we get up to 30 Patreons. Go ahead and join and do your part, and you'll go ahead and get double the Gundam. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Stuntface Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here watching some Mobile Suit Gundam. We got some comments here today, so let's see what people got to say. We got Jimmy, the GBO2, from the Eve of Destiny of the Origin series, saying, Lala is the important person to Char. And also, given Char the vision of the human evolution might be new type. Wow, do we just take that a little bit? I don't think that clarifies what the relationship is at all, does it?
What are you talking about? Lala is an important person to Char. What are you not understanding, Griff? It's exactly as Jimmy the Gabo 2 or whatever says. Sorry, I spent most of the time when you were reading there trying to figure out if it's like, do we say the letters or do we just like try to enunciate? GBO or is it
I chose?
Gabo 2?
But I think this might highlight a point here, which is more Char maybe didn't even realize he was a new type or had anything weird going on until he saw someone else have it. So Lala is important for actually being able to hold up a slight mirror to Char and say, hey, by the way, you are weird. I didn't really consider that before because I thought, oh yeah, of course Char knows what's going on.
Well, I mean, Char, I feel, would at least understand that he's better than everybody else, but that doesn't imply that everybody else can't do what he can do, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's hard to tell, right? It's like that whole thing about perspective, that we need like a board at hospitals that, hey, where's your pain level on this 1 through 10 facial recognition thing? Because everyone's pain is different, and all you have to compare against is your own pain, because you've never felt anyone else's pain before.
Right, you can only illustrate how unhappy you are about it. But let's go ahead and take a look at Loghay Lung, who says from the Eve of Destiny, shouldn't the bridge always works, just when there are no important characters on board? Was there a bridge in that episode that got shout out? I'm having trouble remembering, actually.
Well, there also could have been a comment that I made about the previous episode.
Still, yeah, no, collapse any building, do any infrastructure damage, as long as none of the important main characters are there. Oleb 23.
Yeah, don't move on before I get a chance to talk, Griff. No, what's Raph's line about game mechanics? That's close to this.
That's close to this. Rules endorse behavior. Though that's not the one.
Oh, come on! You did a whole podcast with him for 2 years.
Again, that doesn't mean I remember anything beyond yesterday.
No, the whole "you can do anything so long as it's not important" thing.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the critical thesis for why you have no agency in a story. We could all be Gilderstein and Rosencrantz together. But this is more like being Macbeth than never being punished. Which also happens.
It's Gilderstein.
Oleb23 from the Eve of Destiny says, Dozel is an extremely rough-looking 23. One other, maybe interesting thing, you ask what the point was of testing out the pre-Zaku on the freighter, but if you look at them closely, they're almost the same model as the ships that Zeon is using as their standard ship of the line, just in a flipped orientation. So really, they were just testing against ship armor, which I kind of thought was the point.
Well, no. Well, no for 2 things. One, I think that's just an animation quirk. That we've taken our freighter, flipped it over, and called it a Zeon cruiser. That's just saving money. And 2, I guess 2's only come to me now. I said the other one in a response to that comment on the on YouTube. But say on the YouTube like a fucking old man that I am anyway. Anyway,
the YouTubes, yeah.
No, the YouTube. You always put the in front of something in case you want the kids to not think you're cool.
You gotta add S to the end too to get the extra rage factor. It's like I love playing the Nintendos, you know?
well, two is I don't recall what company made those. I don't
Mhm.
think it was Zeonic, and the fact that it's not Zeonic makes me think that that's not the basis for that. Because clearly you're not going to use a commercial freighter or a transport freighter to test against armor, because that's dumb to be, Griff. That's You're just at that point testing how easy it is to kill civilians, not how easy it is to fight the Federation armed forces. Griff, that's
It
not what
is
they're about.
Xeon.
They're not about that, Griff.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, because we've never been shown them attacking civilian transport before.
I'm sure we can't possibly extrapolate from dropping a colony on people.
I think that's different. I think that's literally different. I think you're being hyperbolic about this.
Maybe I am, but you know what's not hyperbolic? Dozel being only 23.
Well, he's
He
25.
looks 40.
I mean, he's 25. We covered this already when we were just making sure that Dozel wasn't a groomer. We did the whole research back and forth about this 5 episodes? 4 episodes. 4 episodes ago?
Mm-hmm. It's that extremely, like, rough look, though, that definitely, like, makes him age up, though, for sure.
The dude was in a car bombing incident. What do you want?
And that's not the part of him that makes him look old. It's the fact he's 10 feet tall. And then screaming all the time.
The dude's got Austrian genes. What do you want?
Mr. Freaky Pangela Muta. I hope I said that right. From the Patreon, the episode Gundam Rising. Says, the first Gundam to be dubbed was the 3 compilation movies for this. Awful dub. Next, sometime later, Wing got dubbed for Toonami, and then this series got a dub also for Toonami. Even has the original opening and ending after skipping episode 15. Oh, cool. So we actually have like a historical order of like what we actually got here in a row. So,
Well, I mean, it matches what I said.
yeah, because I think last time you were trying to figure out like if you had ever actually seen this, and turns out, hey, there you go.
No, I said that I think it was Wing that came out on Toonami in like 1999 or 2000, and then I think original Gundam came out on Toonami in like 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got, according to this, I've got the order right, despite what the years are wrong.
Yep, there we go. And honestly, as far as business move, giving like the given a side series that's modern and throwing that at an audience is probably the better way of doing things than like trying to throw the 30-year-old animation that you actually have first.
No, Gundam Wing wasn't made that long after original Gundam. Maybe 10 years, maybe, I think, after the original Gundam. Yeah. So you're saying it's better to throw out a 20-year-old anime than a 30-year-old anime. It's like, I don't know. You're literally quibbling over little minute things at that point.
I'll quibble over everything. So that's our comments for right now, though. But Theta, I think you have some thoughts. Let's go ahead and go to the section called Theta's Thoughts.
Toss you that link so you can look over stuff while I'm starting off here.
Sure thing.
You had asked last episode if anyone was left on Side 7. It occurs to me one of the last things we saw in Origin was Shu and Mirai Yashima arriving there. Then, in the first OG Gundam episode, it seemed like Mirai had been there a while. Long enough to know who Amuro was. So I have to wonder if her dad was still there or not. Or if he left her behind for other business. On their flight in, she was talking about working for another company, and her father name-dropped some guy as though she were using it as an excuse for seeing him, which then makes me wonder if he was there too. They did say all soldiers and engineers on Side 7 were dead, but I don't know if engineers equal construction workers in this case, or specifically to the people working on the Gundam. We know Sayla and Frost say no survivors when looking, but we also covered the possible size of an area they were searching. Lots of things to leave you wondering.
Yeah, And of course, it doesn't account for the people who were in the escape pods, which might not be rescued at this point.
You're thinking of a different show, Griff.
Am I? No, no. We
No.
definitely had
Nope. You're thinking of Seed. There were no escape
No.
pods in this. They had little bunkers, and then they all evacuated from the bunkers, which is how Frost's mother gets killed.
Okay.
Seed is the one. That's why I think I covered that specifically in Seed when I was talking about. I think they're called orbs in Seed. I'm starting to figure this out. I think they're called orbs in Seed, and the orbs in Seed seem a lot more destroyable, but are also have escape pods and shit. Whereas on Side 7, or the Banshai in Side 7, rather, all we saw was like little bunkers, like double layered airlocks, and when they escape from that, that's when they start getting hit by Zaku guns and whatnot.
Gotta wonder where they were trying to escape to, then.
Also, this is implicitly why we are separating the watching these on different days, so we stop making the inferences. I myself have found it hard to separate them because they're trying to tell the same story with two different casts of characters in different ways. So we're recording these on different days now to try and separate them from our minds.
Yeah. All right. What else you got?
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in on Tem Ray over here real quick.
The big question mark.
We saw Tem Ray get sucked out into space, but the thing is, he was wearing a spacesuit. Ryu in Origin, let me zoom over to him. Where the fuck did I leave him? Okay, down here. Ryu in Origin surviving into OG Gundam kind of proves that being cast adrift into space isn't a death sentence. And that guy was left drifting in the middle of a battlefield. Tem got sucked out right next to a Banshai, which seems like he should be eminently more rescuable.
It all really depends on what the actual rescue efforts are on a station like that and what things they have. I'm not sure we're going to go over specifically him being picked up by a spaceship. It just he's just going to appear again later. Which is kind of unfortunate.
Again, Ryu got picked up in the middle of a battlefield that was under control of the opposite side that he's on, right? The Zeons eminently controlled the battlefield.
Yeah.
And he got rescued, so...
Like, you remember, like, the image we had of just, like, all the space junk that was there as he was drifting into it at basically an unknown speed, probably even the speed of the craft he was just in. If he accidentally hits anything, including dust, he's probably would have been dead in a hyper-realistic scenario, but...
Well, one, it's the reason why I made the joke about a sargasm, because it all seemed to be flowing into one location. Yeah. Also, I would say he's not floating at this speed of the craft he was in. He's probably floating at the speed of the explosion that launched him from the craft.
Which is bound to be still pretty fast.
Well, it was... Actually, so I got a lot of modifiers here. This craft is flying in this direction. The mobile suit that hits him comes from this way, which means he's got this velocity moving forwards, and then an explosion shoving him this way. So it's somewhere probably in the middle speed of the forward momentum and being knocked back by the explosion momentum.
Yeah, we got to make a graph for all of this. So I guess let's go to the next one before we start doing math.
Last episode, I talked about when OG Gundam came to Toonami. Well, I saw an ad for a Toonami marathon after our recording last week for April 2000 that had Gundam Wing in it. OG Gundam aired on Toonami in 2001.
Right, so just like the information we also got from the comment recently. There we go, everything lines up nice and good.
Well, in my own defense, I said the thirst thing first, and then the commenter reinforced what I said, and then apparently at some point last week I made a note to myself about how right I was, because that seems like a thing that I would do.
Yeah, just go ahead and leave notes like that around everywhere. It's like, you are always right. You should do it.
Well, someone has to tell me, otherwise I'll never hear it.
Yeah.
OG Gundam's opening says it's been half a century, 50 years, since humanity started moving its population to space. We covered the general math of how many generations back Zeon and Rosalucia. I don't know why I wanted to make her Spanish all of a sudden. And Rosalucia must have been as second-generation colonists on Munzo, estimating that Side must have started development or at least habitation around 8 UC. I don't know if we're supposed to say all the numbers or not. Like, until we reach 1000 UC, it seems like that first zero is completely pointless.
You must say 0008 every single time.
So it is interesting that the new time scale we're working with is taking the current year to be 0079 still, then that the greater move takes us back to 0029 UC. I feel like both sets of information can be reconciled without contradiction and remain true. You'd have a sizable population of humanity in space, towing asteroids, mining, creating Banshee. Like the incomplete Side 7 was far smaller in population while it was being worked on. Then a greater migration could take place after those places are ready to be settled.
Right, yeah. I think like probably the best piece to work with there is like what you said at the end there. Construction on the things probably started first, then the larger scale habitation happened afterwards. Because even though Amuro Station is under construction, there's still 30,000 people sitting there. I would still call that they have colonized space, right?
Well, I'm taking into account what we learned during Origin about Xeon and Rosalucia, their background as second generation colonists.
Yeah.
Because again, it falls into what we've stated before when we started Origin and said we're considering Origin to be canon.
Yeah.
Is that anything that comes after that that contradicts Origin, we then have to replace with the new information. So I'm taking efforts to see what is an actual contradiction and what can be reconciled with both sets of information and still remain true. If both things can remain true and one thing says one and one thing says the other, then they're both true. Otherwise, right. I will state when something is a complete contradiction from what we know.
Right. Ultimately, we might lose a little loss of precision in like numbers, but ultimately the same feel is there, right?
I think it still lines up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh.
Another settlement of facts. The opening also says that it is 0079 still, showing us Operation British, but also stating that 8 months have passed since the start of the war. The last solid date we got in Origin was January 23rd, so at the very least we now find ourselves in September, which accounts for characters having heard about one another, if not downright getting to know each other. The only real oddities would be that we ended on Tem in White Base on his way to Side 7, and Char starting his investigation into Operation V. But I think those can also be accounted for having happened after we stopped getting solid dates for things. Essentially, everything after the giant space battle at the end of Origin happens intermittently across an 8-month time span, and that's all. Also, entirely possible Tem took another trip Earthside in all that time and just happens to be coming back again.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best way to illuminate everything that we saw happening intermittently over 8 months, because we're covering a large time span, a lot of military maneuvers, and a lot of people going everywhere. Including, of course, like you said, Tem coming back from Earth.
Well, we know the battle takes place on January 3rd. That's when Ryu gets ejected out into space. And here's Ryu on the crew of White Base. So,
which does mean that then the attempt to infiltrate the base by Amuro was literally like 3 days before everything happened.
I think you mean Char?
No, I mean Ray and his attempt with Kai and all the other little punks to try to rush with the bulldozer. That happened, maybe a day or two passed, and then then Char came, and the whole event started. That's kind of the time scale we end up looking at.
No, you remember the tractor thing happens real early, well, not real early, like 4 episodes in, but well before all the other stuff. Like, you're talking about when Kai and all them get the shit beaten out of them, and Amuro gets let go. Yeah, no,
Yep, that's
because
right.
they do another thing. Remember? Because Amuro then goes back later and says, "What's a Gundam?" and then gets led into the base and everything like that. So it's like a pure, it's more. Because also we see the amount of how far Kai got the shit beaten out of him, and how much he's recovered since then too.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of figured the fact that like he literally looks still freshly injured was the fact that like, oh, maybe only a day has literally passed since then.
Oh no, dude was
They didn't beat
totally.
them to death or anything. I don't think they're that
Oh
terrible,
no,
you
no,
know?
they dudes were totally wrapped up in bandages. These guys got beaten to near death, and then we see him later when Amuro is speeding off in his car, still wearing bandages. And here we are now, and Kai looks normal again after a span of some who knows how long. But the idea, I think, is that Kai and gang did their tractor assault. I don't know what we want to call it.
Yeah.
Before January 3rd.
Right,
January
yeah.
3rd is when Zeon declares its independence and war. So I think we were still getting dates back then, and I'm pretty sure 'cause when you think about it, the military's response to the tractor incident makes a lot more sense if it's post-war declaration. Because who the fuck knows who's attacking us with a tractor? But I'm pretty sure it happens before the Declaration of Independence, which means that there's at least 3 weeks time at the minimum before we can say this is when this happened.
Okay. Yeah, putting things onto the timeline is sometimes a little rough.
Well, I mean, I don't think I wrote it down. I do have like my own little mini timeline down here, but I'm just gonna write down. Search the word tractor and see if that pops up real quick. Nope, I never wrote anything down about tractors.
Well, next thought then.
Just an observation here. I get that the mobile suits are basically stealthed to detection due to the Minovsky particles, but I've also seen in Origin that Minovsky particles themselves can be detected. Sort of like in Star Trek with cloaking devices. It doesn't help you track down where the cloaked ship is, but it at least helps you figure out one might be out there. I only brought it up because I was watching the infiltration of Side 7 by the Zaku's, and couldn't help think that a single sensor reading for those particles might have tipped everyone off. Who knows? Maybe those origin scenes talking about the particles are like Star Wars prequels talking about the midichlorians, and all I'm doing is bringing up a plot device everyone hates.
It is basically a plot device a little bit, but if it came down to like, all right, we have one Gundam, one reactor, and like the amount of Minovsky particles that it sheds, it can't be so much as one individual one that every single person is completely blinded everywhere all at once, and no one can guess like, oh, this is the rough center of mass, or like, oh, this is where the densest field of them is. That must be where he is. Of course, that also, I guess, implies would everyone have a Minovsky particle sensor on every piece of equipment at this time period? Like a year in?
I think you're. I don't know if either I'm misreading you or you're misreading me on the whole point. I was saying it wouldn't help you detect where they were. My point is it would tell you that they're there, and they only know what you. The only ones using Minovsky particles at the time of the infiltration is Zeon, because they're the only ones with mobile suits and warships that are powered by them. Which means they are literally at a detector to let you know that Zeon is nearby. Which is, why would that not be helpful? Even if you don't know where
Knowing
they are.
You're going to be eminently attacked is still better than not knowing, right?
Yeah, even if you don't know exactly where they are, you know that they're there. Which will, turn on the red alarms. Get everybody out in the telescope, something.
There you go. Alright, what else we got?
Noticed another change that goes by in one sentence. Hayato mentions that they all had to move to make way for the engineers' research facility, meaning they used to occupy the entire Banshee and then got moved onto the back half. It doesn't exactly contradict Origin, since they never discussed this particular event there. At the same time, This is both 8 months later, and by the end of Origin, they were all fairly aware of what was going on. I see it as another change of reception from the characters, and possibly not a complete rejection of past information just yet.
I guess then in the theme of like they all got information, eventually Amuro and Kai literally sat down, had a talk, and say, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure my father is making weapons of war, and that's why all of your families got moved. I'm sorry about that. It's not my fault."
Well, I don't know why you think it would be with Kai.
I don't know. It's the only other character I could think of.
Well, I said Hayato. You remember Hayato was his next door neighbor.
Let me go ahead and take a look at
Your mouse was
Hayato.
literally right next to him before you moved. Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, guy who I don't remember saying anything in the Origins, right?
What are you talking about? He got pulled into the lake by this kid. He talks with Frau. He does judo, remember?
He's got to be more important in this series, is all I'm saying.
I mean,
He's already on the bridge, at least.
all of those facts I just told you make him exactly as important in Origin as Amuro is. Except he's doing shit. He's worried that he won't make judo in time. Amuro isn't even wearing pants.
Look, I'm really invested in the judo plotline. I need to know, did he make it?
Well, probably not, since apparently all of his teachers are probably dead.
Alright, what we got next?
So we know that the current Zaku design is the cheaper and more easy to mass produce model versus what we saw on the moon in Origin. Still, interesting to see in our first episode that while they still have a significant amount of armor, if you damage the right spot, they go off like a nuke. I'm being hyperbolic, but the explosion was large enough to fill the entire sky of the Banshee, and blow a hole in it large enough to suck Tem and the other guy out into space from some distance away. Consider having to fight in a formation where you never know if the guy next to you will explode and take out everything around you.
Yeah, maybe you want to put a little space between yourself and everyone else, but I guess the idea is that you want to think about them as like a unstable nuclear reactor, and if you mess with it wrong, maybe something bad happens. This would be like a 70s conception of what happens to a nuclear meltdown, right? It's like, oh yeah, there's just an explosion, right? It's like, no, that's not what a meltdown is.
Well, I mean, it's like a mech warrior, right? Where sometimes you beat the other guy and you don't destroy him, they'll go into a meltdown and you have like a time, they have to run away. That's why the mech warriors have ejection seats for what the fuck that's gonna do.
Yeah, it'll get you out of the melting mech. That's
but
what
I mean,
it'll
it's
do.
like almost in the stupidity levels of Terminator 3, right? Where he's got
I'm
the
gonna watch
like the
that next
power.
week.
What?
I'm gonna watch that next week.
Well, you don't care about spoilers. You've told
No,
me
not
this
really.
1,000 times. Where he's got a power cell that's basically a nuclear reactor, just like this large. But he's like overheating. He throws it out the window, and then you see like a mini nuclear explosion going off in the background as they're driving away.
That's pretty perfectly Terminator, honestly.
Yeah, but imagine you've got a Terminator walking back to the facility it was built from, and it just goes nuclear. It's not a good, terribly good design for actually any long-term storage of these things.
All I can imagine is that as soon as they do that, they play the Bad to the Bone riff or something, because that's what they love to do in Terminator 2.
Well, anyway, my point is more so the fact that the Zaku's and now the Gundam have a mode that they're made to go into melee with one another.
Yep.
Right. And the melee
when you're
combat...
in melee and the thing next to you explodes, what are you going to do about it? This seems like a foolhardy and terrible plan.
Anyway. Watching the beam saber, I just wanted to note an observation I had as I watched it cut into a Zaku. When Hacksmith Industries tried to make a lightsaber, the thing that they keep making and saying is the closest thing to one they could make is basically a plasma torch in the shape of an extended beam. The way the beam saber kind of vanishes into something as it cuts it, and then emerges out the other side, kind of mimics that same plasma torch operation. In the same way that a lightsaber isn't a solid object, the plasma torch beam is just a flow of super hot plasma that can be interrupted by objects that, if they are cutting through, will reform back into its beam shape. Now, I'm
Mhm.
sure that the Gundam's weapon is more than likely not this, but it was interesting to see that it seemed to act the same way as something someone else made in real life, trying to imitate another sci-fi property.
Yeah, plasma torch is the most logical way to end up getting something akin to your cool lightsaber, right? Because obviously, if you made a lightsaber out of light, they would just kind of just pass through each other because they're light, right? It's not going to do anything. The fact lightsabers interact is like a whole bunch of shenanigans their end, and well, anything you do in that case shouldn't even be beam shaped. But like I think with every single Gundam saber, we always see like it kind of flares at the bottom and like is kind of like a flame. It has like a lot of projection that implies that it is not like a solid thing. I think that there's actually some good little bit of design in there. I think that's good. And of course, like you said, with the animation where like it disappears in, cuts through, finally pops out the other side because there's nothing interfering with it. That's real good.
Well, there's no hard animation frames to depict exactly what I'm suggesting. It just
Yeah.
seemed that way because the problem is that it's when he figures out, oh, I have to kill the cockpit in order to not do an explosion. He pushes in, right, and then you
It
see
doesn't
it.
go all the way
Well,
through,
no,
yeah.
then you see it go in, but the back of the Zaku is off the edge of the screen, so you
Mhm.
can't see if it's cutting its way through or if it just instantly goes through. And then we get another angle later, which is it all the way through, and it's already time been cast because Amuro is like gasping, or the other we're hearing the sound of the beam. So
Mhm.
there's no instant of watching it move because they again cleverly cut off the end of the screen.
Yeah. So what do we got next?
I like that the intro division between Char and Amuro, just in the first episode, is skill versus ability. Granted, Char Zaku is cranked to the max for speed, but we've seen extensively that he is basically the Ubermensch. He's got the skills to overcome just about anything. Amuro, on the other hand, has the ability. In this case, he's a bum in a mobile suit that has all the ability. Oh my god. I hate when I write stuff like this. Oh my god, it's just coming to me now. Coop from Megas XLR was an Amuro clone. He's a bum in a mobile suit. Anyways, point being, he has ability beyond his skill at the moment that puts him above what others that might be more skilled than him can do. I guess the example would be that Char can dodge around a battlefield unscathed, whereas Amuro could just plow straight through it.
Yeah, they do have very different styles. The fact Amuro kept up at all is already pretty fascinating, and that's probably the best interpretation to kind of go with here. Amuro isn't quite just a bum. He does seem to actually know how mechanical things work, which is probably why they put in the he built the Haro thing, right? Initially.
He doesn't wear
To
pants.
demonstrate that immediately to the
He
audience.
doesn't wear pants. He doesn't clean his house. A girl has to come by every day to give him dinner because he won't feed himself. He's a
That
bum,
doesn't
Griff.
make him a bum, that makes him a slob. Completely different, I'm
No,
sure.
no, no. I would maybe argue that the not cleaning his house part makes him a slob. Not being able to feed himself or wear clothes makes him a bum. From one bum to another, I understand what a bum is.
All I have to say is then, I want to see more levels of Amuro Bumitude, like just on the ship, completely unable to take care of himself. I need to see that now because it's just gonna be funny.
I don't know. I feel like he'll be shamed into action at this point. I can't keep doing what I'm doing. Other people are here to see me.
You're now living together with people on a ship, Amuro. You have to put on pants in the morning.
I
We're
was just
sorry.
watching a YouTube short earlier that kind of makes me now think of this too.
Uh huh.
A guy asking another guy about playing video games, "Are you casual good or are you good good?" And he's like, "Well, what's the difference? Are you good at like playing against your family members that don't really play video games and they have to gang up on you to be able to beat you? Or are you good good where you can play professionally and all this stuff?" And the bit is that they play against one another because the casual good guy is like, I'm good, man. I'm good. And then he complains when the other guy beats him. Like, man, I hit you when you were below the level. How did you not lose? I should have been knocked off the stage. Oh, so I tech blocked, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you did what? Oh, I single framed shielded when you would have hit me so that I took no damage and was able to get back on level while also hitting you. And the other guy's just like, you didn't understand a word I said, did you? Like, difference between casual good and good good.
Oh gosh, I honestly, I'm casual good. That's the entirety of me playing with all my friends. Like, yeah, no, sure, I can beat all of you. Am I actually good at the game? Oh no, not at all.
I used to be casual good, and then I just stopped playing video games. So now I'm that person in your family that doesn't play video games and that you probably beat and has to gang up to beat you.
Hey Theta, let's solve our next argument with a little bit of video game. Yeah, 1-1-1, let's do
I'll
it.
still do that. I will still do that.
What else you got?
So, Char saw Amuro using super napalm to destroy the Gundam parts, which means that Char also knows what weapon is strong enough to defeat the Gundam, right?
Uh-huh.
Considering we know that it can tank tank shells in rapid succession, it must be made of harder stuff. But whatever super napalm is could melt its parts, which should mean it should be able to melt the whole thing too.
Mm-hmm. So theoretically, you should just be firebombing any mobile suit that you see, especially the Gundam.
With
And
whatever
even if
super
it doesn't
napalm is.
melt the parts, like you said, putting a vehicle on fire is a really good and quick way to disable it, right? Even if it doesn't break the vehicle, the people inside aren't going to be able to deal with it being overheated, are not going to be able to deal with the smoke.
It really depends. It really depends on
Also
what
in
the
space.
design of the thing is, right? If these
Uh-huh.
things are meant to fight in like atmospheric reentry, then they're already designed for high temperatures.
Yeah.
It could just be a matter of whatever the hell super napalm is. Maybe it's corrosive to
Mhm.
metals and also causes what is I'm trying to think of that super like silvery liquid that like dissolves through metal.
Uh,
God, last time I saw it was on a lockpicking video, so I'm kind of hard pressed now to think of what it is. But you also have those other materials that become sorry, I'm feeling dumber as I talk now. They like
okay.
spark up and almost like they start to try and start a fire when come in contact with certain metals.
Yeah.
It could be
Because
like
metals can be broken down and like you can pop the oxygen off and things like
I mean
that.
it could be a combination of these two things. Kind of the way that triple G gas is different kinds of nerve agents all wrapped into one. That this is
Hmm.
some sort of like I said, it's a super napalm. It doesn't even have to be anywhere related to napalm. Because all we know is its nickname, super
Yeah.
napalm.
And then the show will never bring it up again.
I'm just pointing out that we, in the second episode, discovered the Gundam's weakness, and
Mhm.
also the main bad guy was there to see it.
Oh yeah. And like I said, they're probably just never going to use the information again.
All right. Well, looking at the board, Griff, any comments on the differences that were made?
Well, I do see that we have now organized things via ship, where we have quite the large cast for the White Base Pegasus class over here, including all of our children friends over here, and of course, the actual crew that actually has training, which is now down to about 5 people. I guess of all things, Mirai actually has direct experience already piloting ships of this type.
She
They
said.
stated it. She said she's good to go. She's ready to start it. This is just high stakes for her.
Well, also in the Origin last episode where we saw her, she was also piloting the ship her and her dad were
Yeah,
riding to
exactly.
Side 7.
They've already demonstrated she's trained for the skill. She already had it. She just got put in there, and she's good to go. And I guess that leaves the only other adult in the room, Artesia. I can't wait to see Artesia and Amuro Ray actually interact. I want to know what that's gonna be like.
I mean, I guess she's the adult in the room. She's like late 20s. I mean,
She's like
Only
4
slightly
or 5
older.
years older.
Only slightly older than Bright Noah, who's in the
Yeah.
crew. I mean, I don't know how old Ryu is. He doesn't give me super old vibes. And these two have been only seen at a distance. So he's the real only adult in the room. The guy who's like giving orders while still gasping to try and stay alive.
Yeah, they're just desk jockeys, so don't worry about Marker and Oscar there. But meanwhile, over on the Falmer, the Musai class, we got 2 named characters left alive over there. There's no one left.
Well, remember, they're getting resupplied. That was the conversation they had with Dozel.
Right, so hopefully this episode we're going to get a whole bunch more people on board. Maybe we'll get a couple names, and then they'll explode too. And then Char will go, man, I really should just stop making friends with people. So, I think the rest of the Admiralty and other crew are all basically untouched, if I remember right. Nothing's really changed with them recently. It's a little too early to go back to the Zabi family. So I suppose that goes ahead and wraps up the concept board at the very least, unless there's something you want to point out here.
No. Whatever you notice.
All right then. So in that case, we've done our Theta Thoughts section. We've got our concept board up, and of course, what's left is to go ahead and watch. Last time, of course, we had in order to evacuate Site 7, Amber Ray and the Gundam dual char Aznabel and his custom Zaku in space. That's about where we left off. They are now on the run, and like you said, it seemed like Char and crew are going to go resupply, and they're going to have a running retreat. Or, as the episode's titled, a vote to attack, even. So, I say let's go ahead and see how that turns out, but first of all, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can go ahead and follow us over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. It's all support the channel, just a little bit extra.
Click that link down below, join the Discord, let us know who your favorite member of White Base is.
Now the Earth has absorbed too much energy, it's gonna explode.
That is the same flashing that you get when Frieza tries to blow up. I was about to say Dagobah. I don't know what the hell is going on with my brain anymore. So that famous Star Wars scene.
I can only imagine after 5 seconds of interacting with Yoda sass, Frieza would just destroy Dagobah, though. Frieza would not give a shit.
Again, this isn't like any #1 hit, but it does stick in my head for some reason.
It's still nice. It's old school, but it's nice. It's catchy.
I mean, it sticks in my head in that way that any song you don't know the lyrics to does. You
remember the melody, which is the important part, and the part that everyone is going to try to imitate. You only like imitate like the rhythm or like any of the other elements if you're more musically nerdy.
Well,
right?
I mean, it's also got lyrics that don't translate well when you try. If you were trying to sing it in English, you've got to seize the power.
Gundam. It doesn't work in English. I don't know, Site 7 doesn't look that bad.
For that giant open hole to space.
I don't see any hole.
Between the bridges.
Well, you know, that's fine. It's not like someone will set off an explosion or anything.
I mean, it has nothing to do with the giant hole. Also, this is giant.
Well,
forgot that was in the opening, did
so
you?
Good anymore.
Munzo.
Space City. I don't know, is 30,000 enough to be called a city?
Yeah.
I guess when it comes to like pre-built structures like all these, calling yourself a city is more a case of ambition than anything.
宇宙都市建設の鉱物資源を売るために月軌道上に運ばれてきた小惑星である。ルナ2と連絡が取れ次第、私の名前で寄港を許可してもらえ。
The name of the
あと
Lord.
は指令のワッケインに頼むが。
少しお休みください。痛み止めを。
いや、いい。
I'm gonna say the dude looks like he hasn't been given one painkiller yet.
こちら何人ですか？
Oh, here it's coming.
ミルクのお湯先ほどお願いしたんですけど。これですよ。
ルナ2にはいつ着きます？
あと1時間ほどです。
食べ物の廃棄はいつ来るの？
そこまで来てますよ。
セイラさん。
The old woman who looks like she can barely walk. Down the hall, bitch!
サイドセブンに来る前はどこにいたの？
Look, this is clearly a bit of an emergency here.
地球です。
宇宙に出たの
え？
初めてなんですよ。
That's not true,
い
though.
らっしゃったのね。
皮肉ですか？
You were on side 5 before now.
ブラッドさん。
Oh, right, but we obviously know why she's hiding.
変わりましょう。
Right,
状況を見て
right.
るだけでいいんでしょ？すいません。着陸の時までお願い。
Sayla, who didn't claim to have any experience piloting,
問題だと思うんです。
just
Yeah,
handed
Sayla-
over control of the
シャア
ship.
の攻撃。
I'm fine with it, but I'm curious. When?
Sure, I don't respond to any chain of command. Here you go.
Flying this ship into the
あ
sun.
んな老朽艦では十分な補給物資が。
現状を考えるんだ。
しかし
十分な戦力で戦える昔とは違うんだぞ。じゃあ、ザクは2機を送った。無罪を潰しても連邦の機密を手に入れるんだ。
He asked for 3, if you remember.
3機のザクを要求して。
There you go, see?
敵のモビ
I'm
ル
sure
スーツ
2 more
のスタンド
Zakus will
は
definitely accomplish this.
I guess 8 months would also explain the change in Dozel's attitude.
どこにいるの？
ブラボー、ガンダムのコックピットだ。
I think we ended off the origin with them saying like, no, we have Xeon on their last leg. They wouldn't be negotiating if they didn't
That was
have resources
hyperbole. We
anymore.
already covered that.
Yeah.
I mean more so that Dozel was giving shit out for free constantly. And now he's
There we go,
like, we
Amuro
have
still does
limited
not take care of
resources.
himself.
ブライトを気にしてムキになることないのに。
そんなこと関係ないよ。死にたくないからやってるだけさ。
It's fair.
かしら。
I wish more characters would have that motivation.
シャアの無罪。
Yeah.
なぜ攻撃をしないの？
It's a good place to start. Your character should always want to survive their scenario, right?
それと武器を使い果たしているということも考えられるわね。
しかし、
しかし、
我々にそう思わせる作戦なのかもしれない。
シャアの無罪に接近する船があります。
援軍？
わかりません。15分後に接触します。
未来の推測が当たったんじゃなくて。
It's a lot like Wrath of Khan in this way, right?
巡洋艦
We know what they're doing, and they can see us.
武器を補給させる前なら。
It is space and there's nothing in between
戦える
us.
かもしれないわ。
攻撃に出ろというのか。
もう一度シャアの攻撃を受けて守りきれますブライトさん。
我々は正式な戦闘員を一人だって持っちゃいないんだ。オペレーター、敵の接触と補給にどのぐらいかかるもんかな。
Hey, you guys ever consider how it's weird how some of us have pupils and some of us
艦長
don't?
さんに聞いてみたら。
そういう言い方、
はい
やめてほしいものだな。
I was just focusing on the fact that it's Mirai who suggested that they should
相手はい
attack.
くら大きい人でも腰を引いた瞬間とかバランスを崩
We
した
don't know a lot about
倒せるもの
Mirai.
です
She was in 2
Secretly
episodes of The Origin.
Ah, it's judo class again.
未来さん、
Just one
各員臨時に
characteristic.
集合。
緊急警報。緊急警報。
No, just watching them discuss it, I'm looking at Sayla in the background who has white around her irises. And Bright here who's got nothing. It's like, wait.
集合でしょ全員。選択しとくからね。
あ
みんなの意見を聞きたいが時間がない。多数決で決めさせてもらう。まず、できるできないは五分五分だが、ともかくルナ2前進基地に逃げ込むのに賛成なもの、手を挙げてください。
Amuro, you're raising your hand.
では、これも五分五分かもしれんが、我々が打って出る方に賛成のものは。
戦うべきです。そうよ、戦うべきよ。
Do the kids really count?
Well, 2 out of 3 of the kids voted for it.
I like how Kai is just like suspicious of everything right now.
よし、決まった。
Oh, it's a good thing that the guy piloting your weapon decided who wanted to
ビームは
attack.
コアファイター。場合によってはガンタンクの出撃もあり得る。ビーム砲スタンバイ急げ。ホワイトベース180度回答。
Also, I guess technically Ryu, who does the core fighter, was also voting to attack.
Oh yeah, we still have one of those. But yeah, this situation feels just like
カタパルト接続
even more ragtag than like the seed comparison.
60、70、
Cool, they actually have a backplate.
発進。
コアファイター罹患終了。アムロ、ガンダムカタパルト用意。わかるわね。
そのつもりです。やってみます。
I mean, in fairness, you could probably just walk out into space and then use your jets.
装備チェック。ガンダム出力異常なし。行きます。
You can just wander at the end of it, but I suppose you want some momentum to work with.
It's got
You
jets,
got a lot of
doesn't it?
distance to cover.
Yeah, see, it's got jets.
10キロ前進後、敵に対して両線から侵入のため降下。
Delta V isn't something touched on very frequently in this
ビ
show.
ーム砲スタンバイ急げ。
But I can't ever imagine the backpacks have very much of it.
砲撃スタンバイ。エネルギーパイプ接続。
Different kinds of jets work differently in different atmospheres. I know specifically from Kerbal Space Program.
8分後に
The
敵
kind
が
of jets that are effective in space aren't very effective for getting you into
ともかく撃
space.
って援護ができればいい。
Right.
ただし、ガンダムとコアファイターには当てるな。
And I guess beyond just amounts of Delta V, for like something that's supposed to be combat capable, you want to know how quickly it can actually accelerate.
ドレン少尉、
あ、
映像回線を開け。
はい。赤い彗星が補給を欲しがるとはな。ドジをやったのか。
ガデム、敵は目の前だ。一刻を争
Good
う。
damn!
わかっているよ。
Char immediately getting flack, love it.
の割には素早いはずだ。
ハッチ開け。コンベアパイプドッキング急がせ。
コンベアパイプ受け取りよーし。
Oh, I love it. There's one guy just standing on the ceiling there.
普通のやつ、軍人のくせに。
上がるなだと。敵は目の前だぞ。
このまま突っ込んだら逆光線で戦わなくちゃならないことに気づかないのか。回り込むんだ。
That age-old trick.
どこだ無才は。
I guess this covers what they said in the origin. Ryu literally just like brand new at this.
No, he's a cadet.
見えたぞ。
He's been trained.
アムロのやつ、素人のくせによく気がつく。太陽を背にして攻撃しようってわけか。
よし、行くか。
コンベアパイプ接続終了。暗躍搬入開始。
じゃあ、変だと思うか。ここは敵の前線基地に近いとはいえ、ちょうど裏側に当たる。ミノフティ粒子の濃度が強すぎると思うがな。
同感だな、ガデム。
See?
cool.
The Xeon ships have fucking detectors. Why didn't Side 7?
You basically called how it should go.
捕まえたぞ、シャ。
Well, I mean, thankfully, per my overlay guy,
砲からミサイルらしき
that's the side I'm on. So thank God that I'm making the arguments they use.
2、1。
That guy is dead.
パイプをやられた。船を無才から離せ。
第2波来ます。7、6。
ガデム、運んできたザクを放出しろ。
ああ、なんとかしよう。
2、1。
ザクをシャアに渡せにはならんのだ。
マチュー、フィックス、船の外でザクに乗り移る支度をしておけ。私は先にモビル
It's very
スー
much
ツを
like
攻撃する。
submarine combat.
Yeah, just a little bit. I think it's pretty clear, like, there isn't severe damage happening to the ships here, but it is definitely preventing them from doing anything. Is more the case.
I mean, their transfer system has been completely blown away, which is preventing
Right.
them from getting all the supplies they needed.
Yeah, so Char is technically dead in the water at the moment.
I would say that's pretty major. Plus the fact we've seen that the supply ship is fucking old. which is what Char keeps complaining about. Which means
Can't
any
remember when
damage
they were
done to
firing
it,
at the fly
any
ships.
damage done to it is probably very bad.
太陽に向かってぶち込め。メガ砲のエネルギー充填にどのくらいかかるか。5分20秒。遅いな。メインエンジンのパワーを落としすぎた。
第3波来ます。7、6、5、4、3、2。
潜んじた。
Char, you're off your game.
するか。
Yeah, it really defeats my point when Amuro can hit shots that you're missing.
来ます。敵戦闘機。
Though I guess to be fair, Amuro has the thing in front of his face when he does it, and Char is fucking eyeballing it.
Yeah, he's trying to do it as quickly as possible immediately after launching, looking directly into the sun, and he got 50%. Yeah, no, that's still pretty good, right? Oh, that's kind of cool.
シャ
モビルスーツの性能の違いが戦力の決定的差ではないということを
Thank you, Witch from Mercury.
教えてやる。
ー、シャーメ
But he also says that being the person who tweaked his Aku into being
It
top
doesn't
spec,
matter,
you
they're
know?
both overstressed suits. Also, the Vulcan cannons would do nothing, we already know that.
遅い。
A gut punch.
Well, no, that's where the cockpit is.
敵の新型艦の目
He basically just knocked on the door of where He just knocked on the door of where Amuro is.
Crunched him in.
船にはやらせるものか。フライトと約束したんだ。僕がシャアを引きつけておくってな。
Having to do it by hand. Oh gosh, this guy is...
ハヤトって言ってな、伝えろ。竜にどけってよ。
あ、はい。でもブリッジに連絡するのは
急いでくれよ。
Everything's done by manuals.
高度を下げつつ170度回答。小を鉄管に向けるんだ。
はい。
無才が攻撃してこないけど。
At least fucking amazing that they pilot the ship by a big old wheel.
ミサイルもないんだろう。
高度300。
How do you pull up on a giant ship wheel?
推定接触 5.2 秒。
Probably gotta pivot on the floor.
どうした？
コアファイターが邪魔で無才を狙えないってカイさんが言ってます。
How do you rotate the ship with the wheel?
With the wheel.
応答しろ。
It's literally what the
Right,
wheel's for.
you can
どう
turn,
でした？
but how do you like rotate? You have like
Combination.
pitch and yaw you gotta deal
Yeah,
with.
combination of pitch and turn.
Navigating 3 axis with only 2. Ugh.
Yeah, like you never played a fucking video game before.
何？
I played enough Space Sims to know I need more control buttons. And Arro's now just flying off into space. He's gone forever. What's worse than the moment you recover, they're immediately just in your face mocking you.
モビルスーツは化け物か。これだけの攻撃でも。
シャー少佐、お戻りください。無才はメガホンも使えず。
ザクはどうしたんだ。まだ受け取っておらんのか。
アパーのカタパルトがやられてるらしいんです。まだザクは。
ザクだけでも手に入れねばならん。今行く。なんとか待たせろ。
シャアが。ブライトさん。カイさんが大型特殊の免許をいくつか持っているんです。カイの親父さん技術者で。
わかった。
He,
特殊免許と言ったな。
he drove a bulldozer before, don't you know?
スーツありますね。
あれは二人乗りだ。
この船の手法と同じようなもんでしょ。撃てますよ。教えてもらったから。
ガンタンクで敵に接近するつもりか。
はい。ホワイトベースに気を取られていますから大丈夫です。できますよ。
頼む。
はい。
一体何をもたも
Yeah,
た
probably just use every resource he can get his hands on.
はい、艦長。
Having more things out on the field is always good, right?
カタパルトが治りません。
バカめ手で押し出せ。この。
エネルギー充填完了。
Oh gosh, that's like the least impactful death I've ever felt right there. He just like gently moved back an inch.
No, he got caught by the other guy. Who I think was Gundam, I can't be sure.
ガンタンクはどうした？
Actually, I wonder if he even actually got hit there. He just
落ち着いてください。ガンタンクは今
Oh, he caught a bullet.
から出ると
What are you
こ
talking
ろ
about?
です。対地速度 12.5 メートル、10メートル。開始電聞こえて。3秒で発進。よろしい？
よろしくもよろしくないもないんだろう。いつでもいいよ。セイラさんね。
余計なことは言わないで。ホワイトベース設置。発進です。
I like girls that hit me.
急いでください、カイさん。山を越えたらすぐに敵ですよ。
おならな。こっちから走らせんのがやっとなんだ。早いとこ片付けちまってくれよ。
I guess now we have two different versions of gun tank as well.
oh yeah, yeah. Because this cockpit is like completely different from what we've seen before, right?
Oh no, not that. The original gun tanks were Federation models, but they weren't in development like this, which means this is an upgraded gun tank of some sort.
Yeah, the ship they're on? Yeah, that checks out.
Alright, that is Gundam.
Supply Corps honor. And your honor's gone.
But you don't understand honor then, because he did his job.
Gundam, 補給物資は？
大概のものは放出したはずだ。敵を倒したら収容してくれよ。
There you go, now Char just has to win. Let's see.
あれか。連邦軍の作ったモビルスーツってな。落ち着け。止めるな。わしの船をやられたんだぞ。
I appreciate he was running up through space.
Yeah.
岩か作りの連邦軍のモビルスーツなど一撃で倒してみせるわ。
武器も持たずに。
やめろ、ガデム。貴様のザクでは無理だ。
With a headbutt.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pull out some surprise weapon or something.
I was about to say, even with all of his advanced technology, Armoro is still just being shown up all the time. By the Supply Corps captain of all things.
Oh, I thought he was going to get away.
Yeah, I think this clarifies that there is no ejection suit on those.
Well, no, they have a front open hatch. We've seen it. He would just open the hatch and get out. But he spent time monologuing instead of escaping.
I like to assume monologues don't take time. It's better that way.
When things around you are moving, time is moving, Griff. That's a rule of anime.
連邦軍の新兵器の高性能の前に敗北を喫した。それはわかる。しかし、一体どういうことなのだ。連中は戦法も未熟なら戦い方もまるで素人だ。
I can't form a plan against them because their plans don't make sense.
補給物資積み込みの援護に当たれ。
援護に当たります。
どういうことなのだ。
案ずるより産むはやしってね。
甘ったれるな。アムロがシャアを引きつけておいてくれたからガンタンクの攻撃ができたんだぞ。
だとさ、隼人。
だと思います。
かわいくねえの。
いや、ブライトすまんな。俺、無線切ってたんだってな。
Kai is more and more becoming a favorite of mine just because of his sass.
君は敵の向こうを回り込みすぎだ。
いや、ありゃあれでいいんだ。なあ。
はい。シャアが早すぎたんです。
シャアは赤い彗星と言われている男だろう。お前だって一度戦っているはずだ。
You literally can't be faster than him.
はい。
各員、第二戦闘配置のまま休息を取れ。
It's a little bit more difficult to try and read face emotions. in this
Yeah,
version.
this is going to be entirely on context and vocal
Well, they're
quality.
exchanging back and forth face
僕本当にあの人を殴りたくなってき
shit.
た
Like, the Bright just gave him a look.
クラバー
It's hard to read on its own.
お茶よ。
こりゃこりゃ
Hey, isn't that the hot water you were given to the other
調子
people
良さそう
before?
だなハロ。
なんだいそれは
僕が作ったのさ。ハロってね。依頼円左翼25キロ。進路右3.2。
I mean, it should be relatively easy to dodge a minefield that's 25 kilometers away.
Space mines are one of the weirdest concepts, is all I'm going to say.
アムロたちは味方の連邦軍に囚われてしまった。その間にもガンダム破壊の執念に燃えるシャーラの潜入部隊が忍び寄る。味方の兵を倒してでもホワイトベースを救出しなければならないのか。機動戦士ガンダム次回ルナ2脱出作戦。
Oh, that's actually a good maneuver.
生き延びることが
The backward stab.
Well, remember, it's a learning system.
Mhm. It's so fun to see Amuro like doing more and more crazy things.
I mean, it's a good
Now we're a little
episode.
behind to space.
I mean, that was a good episode. I'm now, throughout the course of the episode, I came to realize that you're treating this a lot more like Seed than you used to before.
Oh, really?
You're making a lot more jokes about it and laughing at it like you do Seed. You were.
I'm having a good time, is the thing.
I'm just saying, you seemed a bit more serious the last two recordings for it.
I guess because I was like hyper analyzing before, but now I'm relaxed. I'm in the mood. I have Kai being a little shit. It's great.
Oh, I don't drop out of the hyper analyzing bit for this show. We got too much of it to cover
Oh yeah.
to fall into just treating it like Seed.
Mhm.
Seed is a joke right now, but this is, like I said, in our pre-recording bit, just so that the audience know, I was telling Griff, treat this as though it's a 250 episode series, because none of these shows are going to be separate for us. It's all one long ass thing.
Where we're gonna have to remember that this is the episode where Amuro says the one line where it's like, "That's a Haru, I built it," and we're gonna have to remember that for like 200 episodes now.
I mean, we've already brought that up in context and origin, where we can easily reconcile that. He says he built the Haru. We saw the Haru in a box before. Maybe he just put the Haru together. We've also seen him looking at screens with Haru diagrams. So,
yeah,
entirely plausible that he just put a Haru together. I think
Yeah, I'm
the
the one
more
who assembled it. It
contradictory
makes sense.
statement is the fact that they say that he invented the Haru, which is a completely different statement than what was just presented to us on screen.
Right,
Also,
right.
I mean, this is also the episode, remember, where Gundam dies. Also the episode of getting resupplied and having to do it in mid-space during a battle.
Right. So I guess now Char won't have any further problems, but he's up to 2 Zakus, and now him versus the white base is now basically an even fight again.
Not really. Also,
Well,
pointedly,
even in
this is the
numbers.
episode where Kai apparently, or Kai and possibly Hato, get assigned to the gun tank, one of the gun tanks.
Yeah, we're starting to build what does our mission crew actually look like, you know? And of course, we have our core fighter pilot as well, who's going to be with us the whole time.
And then, to your previous point, nothing is ever going to be even with White Base. They've got the Gundam. The Gundam outperforms every other mobile suit we've ever seen.
White Base 2 is brand new and experimental in and of itself, as far as I remember them saying. So it's like, yeah, it's going to be better than every other Federation ship.
Well, I mean, it's the Federation ship that contains the main characters. So, it's got the best armor of all, plot armor. But I just mean that the Gundam itself is made to be overpowered. Every Gundam we've ever seen in every series is based, well, except for maybe Ariel, because Ariel gets our arms blasted off every fight. But the Gundam itself can take hits that no other mobile suit in the show can take.
Right, it puts Char as like the underdog, despite, of course, the white base crew basically being in an also underdog situation. Char is more like MacGyver now, where he has to like figure out a solution to this. Like, how does he defeat white base in the Gundam with 2 Zaku's, half much of a ship crew, and like a package of bubble gum? It's like, what does he actually have here to deal with this problem?
Well, no, all the
Not
supplies that the
enough.
supply ship was bringing them is now dumped across the Lunar 2 surface because the
Mhm.
ship was being destroyed, and they were trying to get them off ship as fast as they can. So Gundam said, Gundam said, you just pick them up off the ground after you finish beating the Gundam. Well, they didn't
Yep.
beat the Gundam, so they still have to get their supplies somehow. And really, that's why I brought up Super Napalm before. We know what he needs to do to destroy it.
He's currently just not in a position to like literally get a supply of super napalm, I'm pretty sure.
It's also, this is the episode where Dozel indicates that the Zeon forces are running out of supplies because it's been 8 months since the last time we've touched on that. Which the point I was trying to bring up during the episode is that Dozel said, I handpicked a crew for you. Here's the best ship of its class. I'm giving that to you too. Obviously, we made you your own mobile suit as well and let you tweak it as much as you want. This is the era of Zeon at its height. And now we're 8 months later, where Char asked for supplies. I'm giving you some of what you asked for, and 2/3 of the mobile suits you've asked for. We can't give everything away for free anymore.
Right. Char was expected to have accomplished this mission with what he had, and he has not now, unfortunately. And now Zeon is in a bit of a pickle. We have more of that end of World War II Germany kind of scenario, right?
Well, we
They-
don't know. We don't know the situation, right? I'm responding to your World War II comment because we know in the real world where the end of the World War II situation you're referring to lies.
Yeah.
Here we have no idea. Zeon could be winning right now and just overextended. We have no context for the comment.
I suppose eventually the show will get to the point where the characters will sit down and go, here's what the situation is with the entire war. You travel with White Base, you have experience. Are you going to join the Federation now knowing, well, one, you've already fought them, and two, how bad things are? That's kind of what I expect is going to happen, like, at a future date. Like, once they get to a place they can actually relax at, not wherever they end up next time.
The closest example I could give in your World War II argument is if near the end of World War II, Germany attacked Australia, like, directly. Like, that's the example here. We've already been told Side 7 is the furthest away from Munzo there is, and they literally just destroyed Side 7. So, it literally is the example of, okay, it's near the end of World War II, and that's when Germany launched its mainland invasion of Australia. And it's like,
No, even less than that. It's like finding a World War II article that reads like to the tune of 12 random German soldiers on a dinghy showed up at Brisbane and interfered with the local barbecue. And also that barbecue had an exchange of secret plans. It's like, wait a second.
Well, no, remember, they destroy Side 7. There's no one left alive.
The barbecue was ruined.
So, to your example, 12 German soldiers on a dinghy showed up outside of Brisbane and killed everybody in Brisbane.
We didn't know Brisbane had a self-destruct option underneath it. We're all very concerned about that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's very much, you've said you never saw On the Beach, right?
Yeah.
The post-World War III movie, where everybody that's left alive on Earth that we know about is in Australia, because the whole northern hemisphere has basically been irradiated, and slowly the radiation is coming down with the weather to basically kill the southern hemisphere. I guess South America kind of got the same blast back from North America, but Australia's far enough away from everything that it's just gonna be the last place hit. And it's about coming to terms with the fact there's no surviving. Everyone's gonna fucking die. The government's giving out suicide packages.
Oh boy. Well, I guess on that depressing story, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today.
That's why Patton Oswalt actually says in his listing of the top sci-fi movies of all time, he puts that on the negative list as one of the worst because it's depressing. He finds it
God.
unbelievable that no one would try to do something to survive, even if it is unsurvivable. That it's too depressing and too real.
Yeah. All right. So with our top depressing sci-fi over, this has been Stone Face Reactions, everybody. I'm Griffin. That's Theta, and we'll catch you next time. See you around. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?